Good morning, all. 1:30 a.m. in the UK. Hey Phil, how you doing? Well, the wedding celebrations are coming to a close. The wedding celebrations in our community, in the Orthodox Jewish community, takes a week. It's a week celebration. And hey James, hey Jim. So the celebrations take about a week. So you have the wedding day itself, which is broken up into about three parts. And the day itself is the run up to it, all the preparations. The engagement was for about 3 months long. So it was a frenzied 3 months, getting everything prepared, everything ready. Hi, Stephen, how are you doing? And then you've got those 3 months all rising to a crescendo on the wedding day itself, which was on Monday, bank holiday, this past Monday. The day itself is also a very mixed emotion kind of day. It's a very spiritual day, and it's obviously a very happy day, being a wedding day, very celebratory day. But as I said, there's a few parts to the day, and the first part is quite solemn. It's a day where we believe that it's like a Day of Atonement, and in our tradition, on the Day of Atonement, it's a day where you can pray and beg forgiveness and make new resolutions to be a better person generally in the future. And we believe in our tradition that we go through various phases in life in terms of, I think a big part, one of the things I've sort of, hey Two Rivers folks, thanks for joining. But a part of our tradition is that there's always an opportunity to improve. There's always an opportunity to get a clean slate and start again. So one of the momentous intervals is the bar mitzvah. So when a child turns 13 years old. So up until a child is 13, in our tradition, he is not answerable on a spiritual level. He's not answerable for the things that he does. He's a child, and obviously we as parents have a duty to raise him properly and to give him the tools with which to become a man and to become a responsible, contributing member of society, be it religiously or be it socially in the country that he finds himself. A very, very strong requirement in the Jewish religion is to respect first the law of the land before, if there's a dispute up to a certain point, obviously, but if there's not a dispute, but if there are two conflicting situations, one which is required by law and one which is not required by the religion, up to a certain point, the law of the country we always put first. In other words, we have to live happily and at peace with all our surroundings. Anyway, I digress. So children up until the age of 13 have they don't have to answer for it in the world to come. But obviously we believe in the world to come and in a judgment day. So sins done up until the age of 13 are not considered sins. A child is a child. Once the child becomes 13, he's considered a man, and he's responsible for his actions. The next interval where a person at the age of 20 in the Jewish religion, at the age of 20, you get a sort of a higher level of responsibility. I won't go into the minor details of what the differences are, but unless you're interested. But essentially, there's a higher degree of responsibility once a person turns 20 in the Jewish religion. And a person is more responsible, if you like, on a spiritual level for their actions. So the wedding day, which is where we started this conversation, the wedding day is one of those times where you get a clean slate. So a person obviously needs to make good and solid preparation spiritually, with prayers and, taking on resolutions to be a better person, and you pray for it and ask for forgiveness on that day. So up until the end of the first stage of the ceremony, it's quite solemn. Once the actual chuppah takes place, the chuppah is the canopy, which you'll have seen in many pictures and in many films. You have the different versions of the Jewish wedding, which you'll see in various different films. So the chuppah is the canopy, is the actual marriage contract where it takes place and where the ring is put on the finger, and where the actual, if you like, the completion of the act of the man and wife becoming man and wife, in a contractual sense, if you like. It's almost like it is a legal contract between two people, and when the groom puts the ring on the finger, he says a sentence which essentially they commit to each other and become husband and wife. And from that point on, it really becomes more of a celebration rather than a solemn day. So from that point on, there's a lot of partying, drinking, not to any excess. There's no, it doesn't get to a point where people get drunk or anything like that. But there's certainly enjoyment. There's good quality drinks. There's good food. Hey Treat, how you doing? And it's a very enjoyable time. And there's a wedding reception which lasts for an hour or two, and then there's photos, family photos. Bride and groom go off to have some photos, and then if you're lucky, you get a short break, and then you go off to the dinner. And the dinner was a very quite a considerably large affair. When we first started off the wedding list, the guest list, it started off at just under 400 people, which was a very, very big wedding list. Thankfully, that reduced quite considerably down to about 310, which is still a very big list. So for the dinner, we had about 310 people-ish. Somehow or other, I don't quite know how, but we got something wrong because we had to end up asking the caterer to put up another table, which thankfully there was room for. The wedding itself was just, as I mentioned, because that's how I got to talking about it being a solemn day, because it's a roller coaster. Because you start the day off in quite a solemn way, and up until the point of the actual ceremony where they become man and wife, it is anyway, even in any wedding, even in a church wedding, any type of wedding, you're giving away your daughter, so it's always going to be an emotional time anyway. But in the dinner is more, there's a lot of dancing, good, high, heavy, loud beat music, gets everybody into the zone, into the mood. It was just, as I say, a roller coaster of emotion. And then right at the end of the wedding, which we actually went over in terms of time, there's a few stages, as I mentioned. So the dinner itself finishes usually, I aimed for the dinner to finish at 11:45 p.m, but it didn't finish till about 1 a.m. because the groom had a load of friends, the bride had a load of friends, and the dancing just went on and on. Excuse me. Once that part finishes, then it kind of reverts back to a blend of levity and solemnness, where you have a guy who's sort of rhymes. He sings praises of the people, of the guests that are there in rhyme, kind of thing, and it's just a very nice kind of winding down kind of time. And that all finished. We got home, When did we get home? We got home something like 3:15, 3:30 a.m. And the little kids went to bed, and we were kind of just sitting downstairs chatting, my wife, myself, and some of the older kids. And we were high as kites on, from all the loud music and just the fantastic events of the day. And we were downstairs chit-chatting till about 4:30, 5 a.m. and eventually finally got to bed. And the rest of the week, so that in itself was an amazing experience. I think beforehand, I was getting quite, I wouldn't say anxious, but it's not my first child's wedding. My son got married about 4 or 5 years ago. But it's different because when the son gets married, my son got married in the hometown of his wife, which is Manchester. So the bride's family prepared the wedding. They did all the work. We just contributed. Traditionally here, we contribute about half to the cost of the wedding, the two families, and but the actual logistics, all the planning, all the preparations is done by the bride's family. So when my son got married, we literally turned up like kings. I obviously had to give my contribution, but besides for that, we literally just turned up as guests, and we had a great time because we didn't really have to do much work. This time round, however, the boot was on the other foot, and we had all the work to do, and it was really quite it was quite pressurizing at times. My wife, I don't know how she did it. She was literally working 3 months flat to make sure everything was tickety-boo on the day, and she did an amazing job. The wedding was fantastic. Everything worked well. And my knowledge of weddings obviously helped, being a photographer. So all in all, it went very, very well. Good evening, Michael. So after the wedding, as I said, there's a week's celebration, and today is the penultimate day. Tomorrow brunch is the last one. So essentially, it's you have each day there's like a mini dinner where there'll be maybe 70 or 80 people as guests. So on the first night, it was hosted by the grandparents, one side grandparents of the groom. The second night after the wedding, it was by the other set of grandparents of the groom. And the third night, my parents and my siblings hosted the dinner. And over the Sabbath, which is Friday night, and 2 meals on Saturday, my wife and I hosted. So it was a very, very busy weekend up to now, extremely busy. And it's now sort of 1:42 until about, how long have we been on for? 13 minutes. Until about half an hour ago. We were on the go since 9 a.m. this morning, all the way through to 1 a.m. Literally, it was amazing though. It was absolutely amazing. We had such a fantastic time. The young couple are very sweet. Their family's very sweet. The groom comes from a family of 13, and he's the second oldest. So he's got an older brother who's married. He's the second oldest, the second one to get married. The rest of them are all younger, and they're just the cutest family. Very well behaved, good fun. And my family is, I've also got a fair few kids, and they all got on so well. It was just an amazing weekend. So it's kind of not quite yet an anticlimax or a come down. Not quite there yet. We've still got the brunch tomorrow, which is being hosted by the other side. But yeah, we're pretty exhausted as well, both physically and emotionally. But it's been fantastic. It really, really has. I wish that on anybody marrying off their child to have a time half as good as we had. It was just such a fantastic time. And you also have a lot of pride seeing your child go out into the world, getting married. She's not very old at all. She's quite young. She's a spring chicken, really. And to know that she's in a good pair of hands of a young man who's respectable, caring, considerate, respectful, very similar upbringing, very similar character traits. So really, very comforting to see them, and very comforting to spend time with the families, to see that we're kind of on the same page. So yeah. Anyway, tonight I haven't started smoking anything. I haven't smoked anything since Friday afternoon. And we're thinking either pipe or cigar. Now, tonight I decided, because we're kind of coming to the end of the celebrations, that I was going to have a very special cigar. And it's really a question of which one it's going to be. So I'm just going to show you. It may well be a pipe, but I'll just show you those cigars. I wanted to show you them because they are quite special. This one is the first one, which is a Cohiba Bahike. It smells awesome. Got some cedar in there, some chocolate on the wrapper, and some nice mustiness. But I think this one is reasonably young. I think this is either 16 or 17. But a Bahike should be good, even at that young age. But I think the other ones are going to supersede this, because that's still a bit young. The next one is... This I was given by the president of the Pipe Club of London. This is a Ramon Allones. I just love smelling it fresh as soon as I open the tin. It's got such a great tang to it. This is a Spanish regional edition. Ramon Allones is quite a long fellow. This is probably a 6 or a 7 by 50, possibly 52. Oops, look at that, it's cracking over there, I don't know why. But this will be an amazing smoke. I'm sorry, I've been talking so long, I haven't really been looking at your questions. I will address them in a minute. So that's the second option. And the third option, which is so special that I kind of don't want to smoke it. This is a Trinidad Fundadores, but it still has the old band, which means it's pre, I think, 2003, if I'm not mistaken. So it's about 15 years old. And the Fundadores, the newer versions are good, so this one should be amazing. And I can't quite decide if I should smoke, which one of these I should smoke. Okay, let me just go back to some questions here. Right. Oh, nice, Ben. Okay. Que la pipa a canto al humidor. Hi, cheers from the Italian Pipe channel. Hi there. Thank you for joining. Big boss, you're in the business of getting a small poker. Well, if you go to a fireplace shop, you should find some pokers there. No, seriously, a small poker. Well, are you looking for an artisan pipe? Are you looking for a manufactured pipe? The possibilities are almost endless. That's a fair point, Phil. Is the beaker worth the hype, Michael? If you smoke a good one, it's a fantastic cigar. Like pretty much Hydro, like pretty much most Cuban cigars, you do, although consistency is better than it has been. I've smoked some awesome Bahikes, and I've smoked some really, I won't say poor, but really just nothing to write home about. I'm going to take Phil and Michael's advice and smoke the Ramon Allones, which I got from Bernard Alotti. Oh, the aroma on this cigar is just fantastic. The best way that I can describe this is, which is what I've done on my channel in the past, is say that it has an intimate aroma. Make of that what you will. Oh, that is just, it's sweet and musty and... Oh man, I'm not sure if I should smoke it. It's just because I'll never have this again to just open up and smell. But you know what? They're there to be smoked. I don't know, I'm in two minds. Blake Marlboroughs are good pipes. I have had them. I don't have one at the moment. I have had them though, but I've gifted them. But they are good solid pipes. Very, very reasonable. Very reasonable. Josh is in the house. Josh, you missed a little intro, which I did a bit of a recap on the whole wedding celebrations. So do listen back to it. Andrew Cirigliano is in the house. Oh dear. Well, as they say, I've started, so I'll finish. I've already started that kind. I've got it all wet, so I'm going to smoke it. It better be a good one, and it better not be blocked. We have a good draw. Wow, the flavors are ready. I'm going to be making you guys jealous tonight. I'm going to be making you jealous. That's all I can say. Well, I guess the cigar got the vote anyway, because we didn't go with the pipe. Well, if you want a floral note, I would certainly point you in the directions of H. Hartman and Romeo and Juliet, yes, but they would need to have some age on it. A fresh one won't do you much good, in my humble. Yeah, the Romeo and Juliet Short Churchill will give you that, but I really do think that they need some age. I've got some Short Churchills which I bought in 2015, and when I smoked it the first time, it was pretty gross, really unsmokable almost. But 2.5 years down the line, they're great. Right, to go back to Big Boss's question about a poker. I'm not sure if there's a Savinelli shaped poker, because that would always be the first manufactured one that I'd point, the company that I'd point you to. The Tankard from Peterson is a very nice lightweight pipe and reasonable to buy. It also depends on your budget, but you could do very well with an OMS poker, a Dagna poker. They're all good, very good quality pipes. I've had quite a few Dagna pokers, and they're excellent pipes. I haven't got access to Vermont freehand, but yeah, by all means, their stuff looks good. Yes, JJ Fox, the club does still meet there, Ben. I was there at the last meeting. If any of you got any questions about what we talked about earlier about the wedding, feel free. The floor is yours. Nice coffee flavour on this cigar. Thanks, Pipes. As I said to Josh earlier on, I did a little monologue at the beginning for about 15 minutes talking about the wedding and how it all went, so maybe listen back to that. It was quite an amazing experience. Hi Boris, thanks for joining. I didn't say how many children I had, but I did say how many children the groom's family had, which was 13. He was one of 13, who is one of 13. No, we had to do the women did a 2 wardrobe change, and I did one as well actually. I changed my suit because it was a hot day, and oh, I didn't see you there, Chad. Missed you. Good evening. Yeah, so you might want to listen to that as well, Chad. In the beginning, it might be of interest. Yeah, indeed, Boris. Yes, it was a very hot day, so I changed my suit in the evening, and the ladies wore long in the evening, so they changed as well. Just going to put these back in the humidor. I've just realised that this cigar is going to take me the best part of an hour and a half, and it's already nearly 2 a.m, so it wasn't the cleverest thing in the world, but there we go. Perhaps I'll have to motor through it. You can see its age, I don't know if that'll come through, but this the band has darkened quite a bit. Indescribable, what is indescribable? This is a Ramon Allones Spanish regional edition from 2008. You know, I didn't actually have a cigar at the wedding. I wish I could have. But all the venues are smoke-free zones. So there's no chance of that. I'm trying to remember if I had one after the wedding. I think I did. I don't remember what it was. Oh dear, is that a good thing or a bad thing, Chad? Getting actually some nice fruity flavours coming through on this Ramon Allones. Oh, you're just being silly. It's quite a pokey cigar actually. I would have thought with 10 years age it would have mellowed a bit. I don't know what it was like 10 years ago. I've not had these at all before. Have I tried the McBaron HH Burley Flake? I don't think I have. I do have, excuse me, I do have an aged tin of McBaron Burley. It's been a while since I've had a Gigantes, so I can't really comment on that if I'm being honest. I've got this, this is an old Burley, I imagine it's a ribbon. I imagine it's a ribbon cut, but I would say this is from the 70s. I don't know much about it, to be honest. I've not really gotten on with Burleys so far. The Solani aged Burley Flake, didn't really enjoy it. I mean, it wasn't bad or anything like that. I just didn't enjoy it. I'm not a Burley fan so far. I mean, when it's blended, especially in some of the OTCs, a lot of the American OTCs are Burley based. Things like Half and Half and Velvet, these kind of things. I have to say, I didn't really enjoy Velvet, which would probably be surprising for a lot of my American friends, but it just didn't work for me. I have to say that I've only tried it once or twice, so perhaps it'll grow on me. Is the Burley Flake, what is it? Burley's, Virginia's, Cavendish, what's in there? Well, Velvet is, I guess it's an aromatic, isn't it? And I just don't like the flavour. Just doesn't appeal to me. I mean, the Artful Codger lives on the stuff, and he's smoked a good variety of Velvet from different ages. So I'd say he's pretty good authority on it, but and he really loves it. It's got quite a lot of ingredients in it, actually, but the flavour combination just doesn't seem to work for me. Well, I really just wanted to get on and enjoy a celebratory cigar with you guys and really give you a little synopsis of the past week. I haven't really got anything else to say at the moment, unless anybody's got anything that they want to ask or any topic that they want me to talk about, but I won't keep you just for the sake of it otherwise. Thanks, Dr. Sparky. I guess that is one of the unique attributes of the channel. I hope it's an attribute. I guess it's kind of my tagline, if you like, my visual or non-visual tagline, to be more precise. Okay, people, it's a short one tonight. I thank you all for joining. Thank you, Andrew, Dr. Sparky, Big V Piper. Hola. Well, you picked up some Buzzballs Northwards. Well, That is a very good move if you like any English pipes. You hit the nail on the head, absolutely. Thank you very much for your kind wishes, Andrew. Yeah, Dr. Sparky, that was always the raison d'etre of my channel. From day one, I've made that very, very clear. That the focus of the channel is the content, not the perpendicular pronoun, as they have it in Yes Minister. Not I, basically. So there we go. I wish you all a very good night. Stephen, Michael, Andrew, Dr. Spiky, Pipes, etc. Josh, Big V Piper, who else? Chad, if you're still there, Phil, everybody, Stephen, thank you very, very much. Boris, Ben, good night, everybody, and we'll catch you on the next one. Ta-ta.